different cases in relation to that just last month. 3 different cases. And all of them, you just go and then the fact narrated, you realize that this is just a case of contract gone bad.
So
but
in a way,
course,
it's a civil case.
It's a civil case.
Not a criminal
It's
case.
not a criminal case. But of course, once they have labeled it with a tag, defrauding by false pretenses, that gives them the jurisdiction
The kind of criminal angle
to go into it.
Mm.
You see, so when it's like that, then you will have to tread cautiously because they are preferring the charges and they think that it's a case of defrauding by false pretenses. But when you read the facts, you know that this is just a case of civil arrangement between 2 private individuals and the police should not be involved.
Yeah, that comes to me quite often as well. Even recently, just about a month ago, a friend of mine also called that he has been invited by the police to assist in that case of fraud. That's what they call it. But when he narrated the case to me, it was like a manager handing stuff to me to sell. When I sell, I give you back your money, I take my interest. So you give stuff to me, I give them out on credit because that's what we've been doing. And the people could not pay. I can't find them. You are demanding your money. And I say, give me time to pay. And he has been invited by the police. Is this a civil or criminal case?
That's a civil case. That's a civil case. Is it especially when we can trace previous transaction between these 2 people? It's not as if this is a one-off event where we say that probably he just intended to swindle this person and get away with his money. But we can trace records.
They've been doing business for years.
So if on one occasion he has not been able to meet his obligations, what you have to do is to go to court and get judgment against him and enforce him. So these cases should not be sent to the police station, and I think our police should start telling people anytime they bring such complaint that this is a civil case and you have to go to court and prosecute your case.
Why will a policewoman or man decide to take this case and get the money for the other person?
It will be difficult for me to be able to tell why they engage themselves in such matters. I may only be able to speculate. Probably, let's say the 2 of us have an arrangement and I have defaulted and you have a friend who is a police officer. Now you want your friend to help you recover the debt that I owe you. So you report me to your friend. So whatever the police officer will be doing will be helping a friend. So his motive is not to enforce the law, but to help his friend recover his money.
If you are, can you be arrested in such a case? For owing somebody,
no, you
or
can,
for breaching a transaction?
You cannot, unless, for instance, you can trace elements of fraud. In that,
where fraud will be?
Fraud here will be probably at the time that you enter into the transaction with me. You deliberately, with the intention to swindle me, and with lack of ability to do what you told me you would do, you deceived me to make some commitment with you, or to enter into that commitment with you. So from the onset, it is a deliberate attempt by you to defraud me. So if that element can be established, then we'll say that this is a criminal case. But if it is just a contract gone bad, your obligations has not been performed, it was not your intention not to perform your obligation, but something came up and you have not been able to perform it, all I have to do is to go to court to enforce my rights in the said contracts. I don't have to report such a case to the police.
And that brings me to what I wanted to start with. So arrest and invitation. Let me start with the arrest. So under a case like this, where I know definitely that this is a civil case, or I'm not at fault or something, there are policemen in my house. They've come to arrest me. So what should I do? Decide not to go?
I will not advise anybody to resist an arrest by the police.
But this
usually
is a civil
when
case.
Yes, I have a reason for saying that. You see, when the police come to you to arrest you, at that stage they are not going to tell you the facts behind the arrest. Probably you will have your own set of facts. But until you are taken to the police station and you are told the nature of the complaint lodged against you, you cannot at the stage of the arrest say that you think that it's a civil case and then you will not go with the police. Of course, the law says that when the police come to arrest you, they should tell you in a language that you understand
why you
are being arrested. So probably they will give you a summary of the reason for the arrest, but the details leading to the arrest you may only get to know that when you go to the police station and they want to take a caution statement from you. So I will not advise anybody to resist arrest by the police on the ground that you think the arrangement you have with the person is a civil arrangement.
So during the arrest, you are supposed to be read your rights.
Yes. So what the police are supposed to do? Yes, the mode of arrest, they are supposed to actually touch you or restrain your movement. So
by restrain your movement, how do you mean?
Restrain your movement. Probably you are in your house, let's say in your room. They've knocked at your door and they have exhibited to you a warrant that shows that you are supposed to be arrested.
Do they need to carry a warrant for your arrest?
Not in all instances. So I'll come to the instances
where
we'll
come to the
they can
warrant and all
without,
that.
Yes.
Let's deal with this first.
With this, once you are in an enclosed place and then you have been restrained from moving, unless when you submit yourself to arrest, they are not supposed to allow you to move. And so the law says that you may verbally or by your conduct submit yourself to arrest. And when you submit yourself to arrest, they do not even have to touch you again. They may just allow you to walk with them freely. And see, the reason why in some instances the police will invite people is because of the last part of the criminal offenses, criminal and other offenses act, the procedure. It says that if you are willing to submit to arrest, they are not supposed to restrain you. It's because they always want to give you the opportunity to submit to arrest. So when they write to you and invite you, it's an opportunity given to you to submit to arrest.
But that is not arrest.
That is not arrest. It's not arrest. So when you decline that invitation, which you are entitled to, I will not advise any person to decline. Once it is stated there that there's a complaint lodged against you and then the police need you for further investigation, it's advisable you go, because if you don't go, they have the power to come and arrest you. Okay. And when they come to arrest you, I'm sure they will use the mode that the law prescribes. Either they touch you or restrain your movement.
By touch, how do you mean? Just touching your clothes?
Yes.
Or touching
you are under arrest by touching your
or
clothes.
Pinching me.
No, they are not supposed to pinch you. They are not supposed to manhandle you. It just the law says they should touch you. And the touching here, any touch that will restrain your movement is allowed. But it shouldn't be like probably trying to torture you or manhandle you, especially when you are not resisting the arrest. So holding someone belt and raising him up so that he will be walking.
You say
that is not necessary. Any form of touch with the statement that you are under arrest is proper.
Okay, so let me take this again. So I'm in my house and policemen come in and they knock at my door and they say, what should they be saying? That we are police? Should they show any identification?
Yes. Now there are instances that the law allows the police to arrest without warrant, and that is stated especially when an offense has been committed in the presence of the police. They don't need any warrant to arrest you, or when a person obstructs the police from doing their work or from arresting another person or executing any orders of the court, or when you are found in possession of an instrument or a tool that the police suspects you are likely to use it to commit an offense, or when you are in possession of something that is reasonably believed to be an item that you procured from the commission of crime, the police are entitled to arrest you without warrant. Now, the police are also entitled to arrest you without warrant if they have reasonable belief. The first one, you are actually doing the thing. But the second one, the law says that if there's a reasonable belief that you have committed an offense, or you are about to commit an offense, or that you are someone for which a warrant has been issued for your arrest, and then the person has cited you. So the second leg gives some kind of discretion to the police that if they have reasonable belief, and the reasonable here, we are talking of the reasonable man on the street, the ordinary person on the street, what you consider reasonable. But the first category, we are actually talking of the crime being committed. So on these instances, the police are entitled to arrest you without warrant. Aside this, any other arrest or any form of arrest.
Give me an example. The ones that need a warrant.
The one that, for instance, if a person has reported to the police of a stolen item, that his property has been stolen, and the person has mentioned a name that he suspects that it is this person who has stolen the item. Now the police cannot move straight on to arrest that person. They have to go to court and get a warrant for the arrest of the person, because in this case the crime has not been committed in the presence of the police, and it is not as if it is the police by themselves who had this suspicion that it is the person who committed the crime. It is upon a complaint being made by a person. So you need a warrant from the court, and when you go to court, usually you will present to the court a given set of facts or charges against that person, and the court may issue what we call a summon, a criminal summon against the person, giving the person the opportunity to come to court by himself. Now if the person fails to come to court per the summon issued, then a bench warrant to be issued. So it is not that in all cases the first thing you go to court for is a warrant. You go and then a criminal summon is issued for the person to come to court. If that is done and the person fails to come to court, then a warrant can be issued against the person.
Does that amount, that warrant given by the court, does it allow the police to search your premises?
No, that is different. And a warrant to arrest is different from a warrant to search. The law only allows the police to search you upon an arrest. When you are arrested, the police have the power to search you.
Including your room?
Not your room, like your person. So any person arrested, the police have the power to search you to ensure that you don't have any implement in your person that may be used to further commit crime or attack the police. They can do that. But if it is to search your room or your house, there's a different set of laws for that. You must also get a warrant to search a person's house, and the warrant here must necessarily be directed at someone who is at the level of ACP. Now the law says that it is only that person.
And whilst lawyer is searching for that portion of the law, let me remind you that this is the diary, and today we are doing a legal clinic in the studios. We're taking a look at some of the things that you might not know, your rights and the rights of the police and where it ends and all that, and if there are remedies for you in terms of police brutalities and other things, how you should handle yourself. Like I told you, the police is the only institution we have, and so whether you like it or yes, no matter how bad you think they are the only institution we have. They are here to help. How can we help sanitize the system so that we both work hand in hand and ensure that we get the best out of them? And that's what we've been doing so far. We've been looking at arrest and invitation, and we are learning a lot. You have it now?
Yes, yes. So the search without warrant is provided in the criminal procedure, criminal and other offences procedure. I think section 93, 94 thereof. Now if you read the 93, it says that where a police officer has reasonable cause to believe that an article which has been stolen or unlawfully obtained or is in respect of which a criminal offense has been committed or is about to be committed is conveyed or concealed in a public place or in a package, that police officer may, where the exigencies of the case so required, without a warrant, search that person. So, for instance, if the police officer suspect that you are carrying a stolen item in your car, or that you have a stolen item in your person, the police officer is entitled per this provision to search you without a warrant.
Okay.
Now,
and so that also extends to the police barriers
yes,
we have. So
yes,
when they meet you there, they have the right to search your vehicle.
That's it, but with the reasonable suspicion that you have a stolen item, or they suspect that you might have harbored, you might have concealed some stolen item in your vehicle. Now, the second one is about search of premises without warrant. If it is about search of premises, the law says that it is only a police officer who is not below the rank of ASP.
ASP?
Yes.
That's Assistant Superintendent of Police?
Yes.
Okay.
Who may search a person premises without a warrant, or who may authorize another person in writing to search a premises without a warrant. So, per this law, it is not any police officer who can search someone's premises without a warrant. You notice that there's a difference between 93 and 94.
Yeah.
So 93, any police officer can search your car or can search your person if they have the belief that you have concealed an item that has been stolen, or you are about to use you are about to commit an offense with a particular item. Then they can conduct such a search without a warrant. But if it's about your premises, then the only time the police can search your premises without a warrant is when it is an ASP who is conducting the search, or he has authorized a person in writing to conduct the search on his behalf. And premises here could include warehouse, could include a shop. It's not necessarily your house, or it could even include the premises of your studio.
Okay.
So
that one will need a warrant.
No, that's without a warrant. Without a warrant, it will be done by the ASP, or someone authorized by him.
Okay.
In the absence of this, any other search of a premises must be with a warrant, and that is provided under Section 88 of Act 30. So the law has given a room, especially when there is a reasonable suspicion, and for instance a crime is about to be committed, or the suspicion that a crime is about to be committed, then it will be unreasonable for you to say that the police should go to court for a warrant before they come to search your premises. But the instances where it is not urgent, the police will have to go to court, and when they are going to court, they are not supposed to give you the notice of their application to the court, because if they give you notice, you simply hide. So
that's why they can take the back door.
Yes, which we call ex parte application. They can go to court by ex parte and say that yes, we suspect that there is something concealed in this person's house, or we are suspecting that there are criminal activities going on in this person's house, and we need an order from the court to search such a premises, and the court will give you that order.
Will it be okay if I ask the people who are about to search my house that, what's your rank?
It's okay, especially when they are doing the search without a warrant, because the law prescribes who is entitled to do that search. So if he's not ASP, he needs to show you an authority note from the ASP in writing that authorizes him or such a police officer.
I'm asking this because I'm looking at a team of policemen and women coming to your house, you demanding to know their rank.
I understand.
It starts a whole lot of
of course, the society we are living in, we feel intimidated by the mere presence of the police. But if you know your rights or if you know what you are about, you should be able to stand up and then insist on your right, because the unfortunate part of it is that some of our police officers do not even know about these procedural requirements. I went to the police station some time ago and I was telling them that it is not in all instances that the police can arrest without warrant, and they were telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, because they will always have the right to arrest without a warrant, and they have never been to court to ask for a warrant before they arrest, and that is wrong. So if you know your rights and if you know what the law is, of course at that moment they may in a way intimidate you, but after that you have avenues to seek redress for whatever.
I was about to come to that. So at that particular moment, I know very well that if you challenge the team of policemen and you say that because you are not ASP, I'm not allowing you to search my house without a warrant, definitely it will result in some minimum force.
That is so, and that force be unlawful. And so if it is unlawful, then after that you seek redress.
You can sue.
You can sue. And the law actually provides for compensation package. If you read the Constitution, I think Article 14(5) thereof, say that a person who is unlawfully arrested, restricted, or detained by any other person shall be entitled to compensation from the other person. So, if any police officer is involved in that unlawful act, you are entitled to bring an action against that person for compensation. And so if you feel that probably the right thing was not done in that particular case, why not? You are entitled to. And I will always advise, the law also requires that every police officer in the performance of his or her duty must have his name tag on. And the reason is that the police officer must be accountable or must be held accountable for whatever he is doing. So for instance, if they come to arrest you and there's no name tag on the police officer and then he misconducted himself, how do you identify that police officer to even lodge a complaint in the first place? Or how do you even identify him to take a private action against such a police officer? So that's why the law requires that they must always have their name tags on. And so if you are a private person and then you are being stopped by a police officer and you realize that he doesn't have the name tag on, you are entitled to walk away or drive away, because it's possible it is an imposter who is trying to commit a crime by using the police uniform, or he is seeking to do the wrong thing, and that is why he doesn't want to identify himself as a police officer. So you should not condone his misconduct.
So compulsorily, police officers or policemen and women are supposed to wear their name tag.
That is it.
By law.
Yes, and the units that do not wear their tag, when they are coming to arrest you, they must show evidence of a warrant that they have been authorized by a court to arrest you.
Or show ID cards.
ID cards, yes. So you cannot just allow anybody to walk into your house and arrest you. You don't know where the person is taking you to. I know the SWAT unit, most of them don't usually put on uniform, but of course they should show you an ID that you can clearly identify their name and then their service numbers, so that in the event of any misconduct and you want to take up an action against them, either through the police service or through the courts, then you know who you are dealing with.
My guest this afternoon is lawyer Daniel Bewell, and he's a legal practitioner. He's a lecturer, Presbyterian University College, adjunct lecturer, KNUST faculties of law in both institutions. And this afternoon we've been holding a legal clinic here. You can send us your questions or concerns. I know you have some of them. Send them ahead to this WhatsApp number and I'll read it out to him. You can send us a WhatsApp straight away to 0554 031 192. That is 0554 031 192. We are also streaming live on Facebook, LUV 99.5. Go to Facebook right now. You see us live in the studios in my African print and lawyer in his suit. And you can also add your questions and concerns to that page as well, LUV 99.5, and we'll be glad to read them and address them right here. This is the diary on Love 99.5 FM. My name is Erastus Asare Donkor. Now let me go to minimum force.
Yes.
And that is where many of the SSs come from. What is it at all?
The minimum force here, in other words, it's the kind of force that is required by law in order to mitigate any rioting or for the purposes of crowd control when the police are performing their duties in relation to maintaining law and order. Unfortunately, the law has not given us a definition as to what constitutes minimum force or what we can all consider to be minimum force. And so depending on the acts they are seeking to mitigate, then we can try to set a bar as to what the minimum force should be. It's just like the issue of self-defense. Depending on how you were attacked, then we can try to find out what form of defense was required in that instance to be able to mitigate or to prevent the person from inflicting any injury on you. So it's the same thing here. So depending on what the police are dealing with, but of course the law will always look at who has the capacity and then the professional ability to do what is right. The police are professional, so when they are using the minimum force, we expect that they should be professional about it.
Does the law prescribe whether you should be kicked in the stomach or slapped from behind or perhaps wrestled to the ground? Does the law prescribe that?
No, because if you read the law, per Article 15, we are told that no person should be subjected to any form of torture, cruel or inhumane treatment, even when you are arrested. So if, for instance,
but if you are proven difficult,
yes, so they can restrain you.
Can be very violent.
Yes, they can restrain you. That is why they are trained as professionals. They know how to restrain or to disarm people. And so we expect that in instances like that, I know it is difficult, but it needs some kind of professionalism to be able to disarm or restrain the person and calm the person so that we will not go beyond the threshold of what we all can see as minimum force. Because if, for instance, you want to arrest someone and the person is resisting arrest, kicking the person, does that amount to restraining the person? And
they will say they needed to kick him to subdue him,
and
so they could arrest.
It's only kicking that can help them subdue the person or control the person. Is that what they will be saying? Because sometimes it is just, you see, they are human beings, and sometimes they get angry and then they want to show the person where power lies. If not, as a professional, when someone is resisting arrest, you should, per your training, know how to bring the person to the under arrest without necessarily subjecting the person to any torture.
Are there any remedies?
There are remedies. What
can I do if I feel that no, this one is not minimum force? I've been abused badly by the police.
And that form of abuse in itself is a criminal offense. The police are not above the law, so that is battery. You can report the case and insist that the police is prosecuted. You can take up a civil matter in tort for being battered by the police.
Go into that one for me. Go into that one.
You see, we have some acts which can lead to both criminal prosecution and then civil prosecution. So, for instance, issues of battery, you can take up a matter in tort and say that the police has breached its duty not to subject you to that form of torture or to touch your person in a particular way without your consent. And for that matter, they have breached their duty, and you want the court to order them to compensate you for that.
So what do you need to prove?
That you will need to prove that there was indeed a touch on your person, and that touch on your person was unlawful, and that you did not consent to that touching. And so once you're able to prove that, and issues of battery is what we call actionable per se. You do not necessarily even have to prove that you have suffered any injury. Once you are able to establish these elements and you are able to show that this is beyond what the law requires them to do, then you are entitled to some remedies in law.
What would be the defense of the police in such a case?
Of course, the police will say that they were acting on the premises of the law and they were just
and that you were proving difficult.
Yes, yeah, they were seeking to enforce the law because you were resisting an arrest or you attacked them when they did not provoke you. Of course, they will always have something to say, but at the end of the day, the court will decide who is really telling the truth based on the circumstances leading to the fact. And if I may also add, if you are arrested unlawfully, for instance, if the law requires that a warrant be issued before you are arrested and then the police arrest you without a warrant, in law we have something called unlawful arrest. That is, you can take up the matter against whoever arrested you and you seek some remedies in court. Now, if that arrest leads to detention and subsequently you are released, you can also bring an action in what we call unlawful imprisonment, because the imprisonment, they detain you, they restrain your movement, and because that detention wasn't lawful, you can bring an action in unlawful imprisonment against the police.
So in the case of Amajiman, who was allegedly handcuffed to a cell door and beaten to pulp, she ended up at the Konfanoti teaching. I have seen a report by the doctors and which confirms that she has been battered. In that case, it's been about a year now. Yes. Can she still get remedies?
She can get remedies. I mean, the limitation period has not elapsed yet in case of battery. But in her case, you see, cases like this also have human rights elements. You can bring it under Article 14 and then 15 of the Constitution. The 15 is talking of the fact that no one should be subjected to torture or inhumane or cruel treatment. So it is obvious that her rights have been trampled upon, and then she can bring an action in the human rights court for the enforcement of her human rights, and that will come with some form of compensation for the wrongful breach of her rights.
I have a question coming in on our WhatsApp console. It says, Erastus, good afternoon to you and the lawyer. Can the lawyer describe how the warrant looks like so that nobody can bring any sheet and say this is warrant? And can someone take the police who are standing on the road and collecting money from drivers to court? This is coming from Reverend Da Costa.
Yes.
Let's do with the first one. So it says, can you describe the warrant, what it looks like?
Yes. It's basically an order of the court, and this is how it should be in terms of form. Section 73 of Act 30 says that a warrant of arrest shall be personally signed by the judge or magistrate issuing it. So first you must find out if the sheet of paper that has been shown to you is signed by a judge or a magistrate.
How would a seal of the judge as well?
Yes, there will be a seal showing that this is coming from the court. And two, a warrant of arrest shall state shortly the offense with which the person against whom it is issued is charged, and shall name or otherwise describe that person, and it shall order the person or persons to whom it is directed to arrest. So it should
name should be there.
It should name you as the person against which the warrant has been issued, and it should also direct a particular person or persons to execute the warrant. So it could be a general one. It could be that to any police officer within the jurisdiction within which you are found, or it could be specific. It could name a particular police officer to effect that particular warrant. And so in the event that a particular police officer is named, he may only transfer that power given to him by also naming a particular police officer that he wants to execute the warrant on his behalf.
The second one is about the police he alleges are standing on the road and taking money. Can somebody take them on?
Taking money? The police are not supposed to be on the road and take money. the police are supposed to be on the road and ensure that we comply with road traffic regulations. So the taking of the money is an illegal act by the police. But I will advise anyone not to give money when you know it is not right, because the one giving the money and the one taking liable. Is equally liable. So of course we know that because of the disparity in terms of power, you are in a hurry to go, and you know that sometimes if you don't give the money, you will waste your time. Yes, so sometimes people just have to give in and then give some money to them. But of course, sometimes if you want to enforce your rights, then you have to be ready to face the inconvenience and then the consequences that will come with it. But if you don't want to insist on your right, you cannot want to hold the police responsible when you yourself you are an accomplice of that offense.
So what I would say to you is that keep quiet and suffer. Don't give the money. Suffer the consequences. If you think they are going overboard, then you can take them on. Yes. But if you give the money, then you are equally liable. At this point, let me invite our listeners in. You can give us a call on 03-220-835-96 or 97 if you have any question concerning you and the police and court issues and all that. You can call me now on 03-220-835-96. You can also send me a WhatsApp right now. I'll read it to the lawyer, 0554-031-192. And we are streaming live on Facebook at LUV 99.5. I have my first caller here. Hello, good afternoon. Seem I don't have that. Hello. Well, let's continue. So it looks like there is a lot that we do not know when it comes to our rights in dealing with the police. Who should have been doing this education? Is it part of the responsibility of the police?
Is it the education here should be done by the NCC? They are the institutions charged with the responsibilities of ensuring that we know our civic rights, and these are issues of human rights expressly stated in the Constitution. So if the NCC were to be up and doing, we should know all these things. But of course, they will also bring in the excuse of lack of resources to do their work. We only hear about them when there's an upcoming election or referendum. Yeah. So that is the challenge we have. But they should be involved in doing things like this.
Let me pick this call. Christoph, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Yes, good show. Hi to just David After here. It's sad to hear him tell us some of these things. That even the police officers themselves don't know much about what they stand for. And so they abuse people, they trample upon people's rights and all that. And it becomes so vulnerable that you can't even take them on, because somebody will say that I don't want to go and waste my time. They will stand for themselves. You can't read over them. People, their system is so poor, like that the police are taking, some of them are taking advantage on people in the society, especially our entities, those on our road and all that, license issues and all that. So I believe that more of sex education should come into the public domain, so that the public can know what to do. So that if I can take a policeman on, why not? Because I've had several encounters. If not but for some interventions, I would have taken some of them all. So I think that it's a good show, and then we need to be hearing more of sex education.
Thank you very much, Christoph. Now let's move to Kalusha. Kalusha, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, Kalusha.
Good afternoon, Erastus.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Erastus, good show. The amount of the police is too much. I mean, you are just even give them 5 over. I wouldn't give them that. there's more to it. I mean, policing needs to be professional. If you watch, crowd control elsewhere in the West, you see how the police are controlling the crowd. Awesome. But compared to Africa, as if we are animals. I tell you what, they do it with impunity. And why am I going to complain when police abuse me? Erastus, I experienced an instance where the commander said he wants to embarrass the one that police is going to arrest. The guy submitted himself to arrest, but yes, they handcuff him. I mean, so what? My money is with him. And so what? And they handcuff him, they walk from where I am to Zongo police station just to embarrass that person. Is it police? Is how we're supposed to police people? And it's not age, good show, and I believe the authorities are listening. And they should give us a proper way to complain when such abuse occurs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Kalusha. And as for avenues to complain, we also have the PIPs. That's the. So you can also go to the PIPs as part of the police internal, works and file a complaint as well. Lawyer, why do you think we don't take the police on? And it's true, we do not take them on, though we know there are avenues to seek redress.
I think one of the challenges is that the mechanisms through which we can take them on is not encouraging. For instance, the internal mechanism, we are afraid that when you make such a complaint to the police, they will, in a way, try to protect one of their own. Okay. If not per the Police Act, there's a complaint procedure that anyone can make a complaint against a police.
Well, I lost that call, but let me pick this one before you go on. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Your name, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Mahunyo. My name is Johnny.
Johnny, let's hear you.
Erastus, how about the lady, the police inspector who did that thing to the lady you were talking of 3 days ago? Well, you have they arrested him?
If you have monitored, the police have issued a release to that effect. The man has been arrested and detained, and an order has been given for his interdiction pending investigation.
Erastus, thank you very much. But the next one is, when you just take 12 to Onatewu Road, from Central Police Station to Atewu Road, is terrible. The police, to the extent that they take 2 cities and give the change to the driver. Sometimes
Do you have evidence to that? Do you have evidence to that?
I have it. I want to know when I don't have evidence.
So send that evidence to me and then we'll talk.
Come again?
Send that evidence to me and we'll talk.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your call, Johnny. Well, interesting,
yes.
Interesting. But let me, you can also send us messages. I have some of your messages here. This one says, what measures can I take when an officer not wearing his name tag try to arrest me? And it's coming from George Darko. George, we'll deal with that in a moment. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, Erastus.
Your name, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the.
Let's hear you.
Yeah, let me ask you, is there they are there to maintain law and order, or they are there just to hide and find the offenders? Why am I asking this? When you see those who are controlling traffic, they hide these drivers to commit offense before, so that they will catch them. So are they there to maintain the law or just to find offenders? That's what we want to ask.
Okay, thank you very much. But my question will also be, why would you want to commit an offense in the first place? As to whether the police will hide and then pounce on you, these are strategies. So
yes,
why would you want to commit an offense?
Yes, Erastus, to respond to that, I think the traditional responsibilities or duties of the police is to maintain law and order. And by way of maintaining law and order, they need to make sure that people who commit offenses are arrested and put away from the public. So probably the hide and seek this person is talking of probably is out of the frequent breach of certain traffic regulations that they decide that let's hide and observe who will breach the regulation. But of course, if you are a law-abiding citizen, you don't need to see the police.
I don't have any problem with that. Seriously, if you are committing an offense and the police is hiding to pounce on you, be arrested. Anyway. Your question, this one is, what measures can I take when an officer not wearing his name tag is trying to arrest me? George Darko sent that one.
Yes, Erastus, I would advise such a person to demand that he shows you his ID card. If he is not able to produce it, you are entitled to resist any form of arrest by that time, because it's possible that this is a criminal, not a police.
And they might probably beat you.
Yes, but if you resist, because we have a case, Asante versus the Republic, where the court held that if the arrest is unlawful, every private person or citizen is entitled to resist. But that is why I mentioned that he should demand for further identification. That can you show me your ID that shows that you are a police officer. But then the Constitution
also gives citizen arrest. So if I'm arresting you in that manner, if I'm not
but
able
the
to
citizen arrest, if you look at what the law requires in terms of citizen arrest, under section 12 of the Act 30, it is
okay.
It has given some parameters that must be met before a citizen or a private person can arrest, and one of such is when the person in the presence of a person committing an offense. The private person is in the presence of a person committing an offense. And that the person committing the offense is causing bodily harm on another person, and the nature of the offense may be stealing, fraud. So this one, it's an offense being committed in your presence. That is when you can have private person arresting an offender.
Okay, let me quickly in 30 seconds address this one for me and we'll close. Please, where do we report police who think he has offended you to? I would say PIPS.
Yes.
You
can report to PIPS, as you said, but sometimes, because we don't believe in the internal arrangement, you can go to court if you have the means.
Okay, thank you very much, lawyer, and I know we'll have to have another encounter again.
No problem.
And we'll do this clinic again. Lawyer Daniel Bewell is a legal practitioner. He's a lecturer, Presbyterian University College, adjunct lecturer, KNUST Faculty of Law, and he did fantastic with your questions and answers. My name is Erastus Asare Donkor, and I sat in for David Akwete. Delali Atiase, he doesn't have any police case. He is here with your spouse.
I'm a very honorable man.
Who says honorable people do not?
That's true.
Quite unhappy with the state at which media persons are being brutalized in our country, and we are demonstrating on Friday, 23rd of November. That's why we have the red headband.
You are demonstrating?
Absolutely.
Counsel, the state of police brutality, I'm sure you have had a few cases come up to you. What does it look like?
It's unfortunate. It's becoming a problem that is going to have both national and international dimensions. National dimensions because persons who commit what we call tortious acts, that is, acts against the rights of other persons outside a contractual obligation. So maybe you and I don't have a contractual relationship for which the institutions that have the wrong
for us to use, if you like, force and aggression to get information. We are always pushing for information. Look at this, the Right to Information Bill. How many years now? Over 10 years. We're heading to 20 years. They are not ready to pass the Right to Information Bill. This will warrant us access to information and all of that, but they are